Yo, RX back with another breakdown of UFC Vegas 105, Emmett versus Murphy. We back with another breakdown of a card that is in the apex, which you already know is a bad sign. And then the card overall, outside of where it is really fucking bad. Main event's really good. The main event is really good. Outside of that, God, this card's bad. 13 fights. We lost a fight today, but we did get a replacement for that fight. So we'll talk about that when we get to that later. This is a terrible card. Like, it just... outside the main event, nothing is really that good. A few new debutants, a few prospects, but overall it's just nothing to really write home about. It's just a pretty bad card, which again in the Apex is expected, but like god damn, they didn't even try with this fucking card. Like, outside of giving us 13 fights, and a good main event, there's like nothing I can really talk about. So it's a terrible card. Outside of the main event, like I said, what do you really want me to talk about? A few of the fights are okay, but I said a few, and it's definitely less than half on a 13 fight card, so it's not a good card. It's the simplest way I could put it. It's truly pathetic. Like, it's... they should be ashamed of trying to put this on television. I don't even know what you want me to say. So, terrible card. Terrible, terrible, terrible. It's, on paper at least, hopefully it's good in execution, but I strongly have my doubts on how good this card will be. I know, shocker. So, I hope I'm wrong. I hope this card's goddamn amazing, but again, I highly doubt it. So, we'll see if I'm right or wrong about that, and we'll also see if I'm right or wrong about my picks for this card, which we do have to get into. And the way we get into that is breaking these fights down. So, unless I'm going to say something, which I don't believe I am in this intro, I said what I need to say. The main event's really good. The card under it's really bad. Hopefully I'm wrong. So, we're gonna find out. But, enough about that. Let's actually get into the breakdown. Let's dive deeper into why I say this card's awful. So, let's do it. 13 fights. Before I do, please like, comment, subscribe. 100 subs goal by the end of 2025. Got big things coming in 2025, I feel, for this channel. Let's see if I'll be right by the end of the year. I have some ideas cooking up, especially today. I had some ideas come up in my mind, so we'll talk about those when we get to those. But for right now, it's breakdown time. We've been doing these for four or 5 years now. Why stop now? UFC Vegas 105, breakdown, 13 fights. You ready? I wish I wasn't. Let's talk about the dog shit card. My voice is already trying to leave before I even get into the breakdown. I don't blame it, but we still gotta do it. So let's do it. As always, we begin with the first fight of the night, all the way down in the strawweight division. First fight of the night, lightest weight class on the card and in general, and one of the weaker fights on the card, even though that's kind of a long pile. So I actually, this might be one of the better ones, especially when it comes to lower level fights on this card. Either way, it's not very good. It's okay, but not amazing. As in our first fight of the night, we head all the way down to strawweight to open our show with Vanessa, Little Monster, Demopoulos versus Talita. I forgot how to say her name for a second. Talita, Problem Child, Alencar. Yeah, this is a grappling match through and through. Not a great fight, to be honest. It's not amazing, but you got two grapplers who are not very good at striking. It's a pretty predictable fight, in my opinion, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, to begin the night, not amazing, but I guess there could be worse fights, but overall, this is not amazing. Even female fight-wise, it's not great. Not the worst female fight in the card, in my opinion, kind of. Maybe, sort of. I don't know. Let's just talk about it. I can only fucking try and be nice for a certain amount of time, so let's not waste any more time, and let's just break down this card. And we will begin with our first fighter of the night, Little Monster, Vanessa Demopoulos. Completed on 2. So what the fuck is Ultimate Beastmaster? In the UFC, not Ultimate Beastmaster, Vanessa Demopoulos is 5-3. Really, that record should be either 5-2-1 or 6-2. She did go 0-1 Contender Series. She eventually did get a UFC contract. In those 5 UFC wins, she's beat Silviana Gomez Suarez, Jinyu Fry, Maria Oliveira, Kanako Murata, and Emily Ducote. And her 2 losses have been JJ Aldridge and Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Her last fight we don't talk about because that should have been a DQ or no contest because she got fucking cheated. Jacqueline Amorim completely cheated. And fuck her. So that should have been a DQ. So 5-2, well 6-2 really. If that's a DQ like it should be. But to talk about Vanessa, I think she's kind of underrated. I don't think she's a bad fighter. I know she's not amazing. Obviously she's not amazing. But if you ever look at her in the UFC, not a bad record. She's very short. Yeah, she has blatant holes in her game. Yeah, she is 36 years old, which is pretty damn old. But she's not that bad. Like, her wins in the UFC, nothing amazing. Emily Ducote is not a bad win. Silvia Gomez Suarez is pretty underrated. The other 3, yeah, not amazing. Her 2 losses, JJ Aldridge in her debut, short notice, it happens. Karolina Kowalkiewicz, that's the one that's not great. She probably should have looked better in that fight. But, you know, shit happens. She's not gonna be a top 15 fighter, she's not a world beater, yada yada yada, but she's not awful. I think she's better than the bottom of the barrel, but I don't think she's at the top of that barrel either. She's, I'd say, an average fighter, maybe a tiny bit below average. She's not a world beater, but she's not awful. She has a win over Sam Hughes outside the UFC. She lost to Loopy and Claire McKenna before the UFC. She's not bad. She has decent grappling. Kind of, sometimes, debatable. She has really no striking. Like, her striking is not very good. It's kind of just wild shots from what I remember. She's just not that. She's not the most skilled, but she knows how to win, and she's not awful. 11-6 record makes it look a lot worse than she is. I do think she's a lot better than her record says. And I don't think she's that bad of a fighter. I know a lot of people just look at her as a meme or a joke. Like, her claim to fame is fucking that celebration where she jumps into the fucking announcer's arms. But if you really look past that, she's not that bad. And I do think she's kind of underrated to an extent. So, again, not saying she's that good, because again, she does have blatant holes in her game, but overall, she's not that bad either. She's been able to beat the bottom of the barrel in the UFC, so what does that tell you? Speaking of the bottom of the barrel in the UFC, Talita Alencar. Oh boy, Talita 1-1 in the UFC, coming off the Contender Series. My bad, I forgot she even had a fight with Ryan Amanda Dos Santos. She's really 0-2 in the UFC, coming off the Contender Series, where she had a draw, which should have been a clear L for Alencar. Luciano clearly won that fight. Then she made her UFC debut, clearly lost to Ryan Dos Santos, and then clearly lost to Stephanie Luciano, so really, she should be on a 3-fight losing streak. She's a god-awful fighter. She has no striking, she has no cardio, she has not even that good at grappling, since she couldn't really do shit against Dos Santos or Luciano, and we saw how decent Sam Hughes did on the ground against Luciano. Alencar is just a shitty grappler. She has, like, no other talents. She's not good at anything. She has no cardio, no striking, no power, no this or that. She's just a shitty grappler that shouldn't even be here. She lost on Contender Series. She lost to Ryan Dos Santos. She got completely beat again by Stephanie Luciano. Alencar shouldn't even be here. She's not good at all, and it's gonna be proven again here, in my opinion, so I just don't see anything positive in the game of Alencar. Even if she gets you on the ground, if you can fucking survive or just get up, or like, she's not even that great on the ground from what I remember, so I don't know what you really want me to say. She shouldn't even be in the UFC. She's one of the worst on the roster, and I don't even know why she got signed. She should be on a 3-fight losing streak. She has really nothing that good about her, so I don't know what you want me to say. The betting odds for this fight are weirdly a pick'em for some fucking reason. I don't know why. I think that's what they still are. Maybe Alencar is a tiny favorite, but overall I think they're closer to a pick'em, which I think is insane. Demopoulos should be like minus 180, 170, 180. She should win this fight. She's as good on the ground. She has better striking, which is rare to say for a Vanessa Demopoulos fight. She has better cardio. She has more heart. She's more experienced. This should be an easy Demopoulos win. Unless Alencar gets a submission early, which is unlikely, Demopoulos should win this fight. I think she's just better. Again, outside of the submission, where does Alencar beat her? On the feet? No. Over 15 minutes? No. In a grappling match, she has to keep getting her down, and that we know she's gonna gas after round 1. So, I just don't see Alencar winning this fight. What does Tapology think? Yeah. Demopoulos should win this fight. More experienced, fought better fighters. Fucking just a better fighter. It's that simple. So, give me Vanessa Demopoulos by decision in what should be a pretty clear, easy fight. Stuff to takedowns, beat her on feet, and win. It can't get much simpler than that for Vanessa Demopoulos. So, don't make it harder than it needs to be. Stuff takedowns, win on the feet, and win the fight. Vanessa Demopoulos by decision. Pretty easy prediction, to be honest. It's pretty one note. Alencar is just terrible. Demopoulos is kind of just a better version of Alencar, so give me Vanessa by decision in what should be a pretty clear fight, like I said. So yeah, simple. After that, we get to the fight that did get changed today, a few hours ago, and I'll talk about why and how and all that bullshit in a second. And then our second fight of the night moved down from the main card due to a little bit of changing around. We head to heavyweight for what was meant to be the second best fight on the card and is now really weird. We have in our second fight of the night, from the smallest weight class to the heaviest, Martin Buday versus Uran Gorilla, oh boy, Satybaldiev? Satybaldiev. I think that I'm gonna call him Uran. So, I guess as you may know, or if by now you've probably heard the news, this was meant to be Martin Buday versus Kendi Nzechukwu. And Nzechukwu pulled out a few hours ago due to injury. Uran stepped in, and we keep Buday on the card. Fuck. That, I think Nzechukwu was the second best fight on the card. Should have been the co-main. So it sucks to lose him from this card. I needed any help it could get. So that sucks. Cool if we still keep a fight on the card. We still keep Buday. And we get to see who the fuck Uran is. So it sucks. I really want to see Nzechukwu knock out Buday. I thought that was going to be a fun fight. Again, I thought that was one of the few bright spots on the card. But we can't have nice things in MMA, can we? No, we can't. So, let's talk about this fight as we begin with the guy who has been on the card the whole time, Martin Buday. Buday in the UFC is 5-1 coming out with Contender Series. I can't believe he's had 5 fights in UFC. It doesn't feel like it. This is coming out to Contender Series. He has beat Chris Barnett, Lucas Bresky, Jake Collier, Josh Parisian, and Andrei Arlovsky. Actually, I forgot he did lose to Lucas Bresky, so he's 4-2. His 2 losses are Lucas Bresky, because that was a complete robbery, and Shamil Gaziev. The GOAT, Shamil Gaziev. Yeah, Buday is pretty terrible. Looking down his UFC career, you beat Chris Barnett in your debut, dude, you're ginormous compared to your loss to Lucas Bresky, which says enough. You had a forgettable fight with Jake Collier, a forgettable fight against Josh Parisian, got completely smashed by Shamil Gaziev, and had a forgettable, terrible fight against Andrei Arlovsky. Buday's just not very good. He's like kind of the shittier Waldo. He's very passive-aggressive in his fighting style. He could probably finish fights if he wanted to, but he chooses not to. They both looked super shit against Andrei Arlovsky, funny enough. He's beaten, his best win is, again, probably Andrei Arlovsky or Chris Barnett. Buday's just not very good. He's strong, he's a big dude, he's really good at holding you against a cage. But outside of that, his striking ain't amazing, his grappling ain't amazing. He's a fighter, he's nothing special, but yeah, we know what the UFC was doing with him on this card. They were just trying to feed him to fucking Kendi Nzechukwu, and it would have worked. But now we get to see if it works with this new kid, so Buday is not the most, advanced fighter. He's very flat-footed, very just low output, cuddle you on the cage, so we'll see if this new kid can stop that. Only one way to find out. And that new kid is Uran Satybaldiev. I might have that right, I don't know. So let's talk about Uran, a guy I've never fucking heard of. 9-0 in his MMA career, no fucking age on his profile, that's always good. He did just fight a few weeks ago, defend winning the LFA championship. Cool. The LFA is kind of respectable. They've not gave us that many bad fighters. He was meant to be on Contender Series last year. Beat no one notable. He is a light heavyweight, so this is him moving up a weight class. Not even a height or a reach to go off of here. 6 KOs, 2 wins by decision and a submission. Oh, I don't know what you want me to say. A guy I've never heard of. So we'll see what this kid can do. Stepping in for Kendi Nzechukwu. Martin Buday ain't the hardest fighter to beat, so he has that going his way, I guess. He has the funny hat, so hopefully that gives him some power. Outside of that, I really don't know what you want me to say about a guy I've known for about 6 hours. if that. So, yeah. The betting odds for this fight are not on Tableau at the moment, but I did see the opening odds. I think Uran actually opened up at like minus 130, which kind of shocking. I would have predicted Buday to be like minus 190, but yeah, like minus 130 Uran. I'd probably have this a pick'em. In my personal odds, I'd probably have it a pick'em because. Like maybe on a full camp you can make a case for Uran being a favorite, but on short notice, up a weight class, on less than 48 hours notice, it's risky. So he might be better than Bresky for all than Buday for all we know, but who knows? Who truly knows? So we do have his height. He's the same height with a big ass reach. Okay, from Kazakhstan. Well, that's not Kazakhstan at all, that's Kyrgyzstan. Where the fuck that is. Who am I picking for this fight? I'll go the undefeated kid and give me Uran. I was picking Ndechku to beat Buday, now I'll pick his replacement. If you have enough talent, you could easily beat Martin Buday, so well, Lucas Bresky did it, you should be able to, so we'll see what happens. Give me Uran Satybaldiev by knockout in the probably second round is what I'm feeling, so give me Uran knockout in the second. Let's see what this kid can do, let's see if he's legit, let's see how credible the LFA is, because this dude was a champion over there. Let's see if it's as bad Cage Warriors, because god damn that place sucks. So, LFA, let's see what your guy can do. Give me Uran by knockout in the second. Let's see if he's legit. Again, if you have the talent, I hope you don't hear that fucking train horn or whatever. If you have enough talent, you can beat Martin Buday. Let's see if Uran has that talent. Give me Uran by knockout in the second. For a successful short notice UFC debut, why did it take me back to the top of the page? After that, we head to our third fight of the night. We're gonna go on a little streak of kind of flying through fights, because these next few are either pretty easy or I don't care enough to break down. So let's get into that set of fights. As in our third fight of the night, we have a very, very, very easy fight to predict. Our first lock option of the night. Not calling him a lock, but he is an option for it. As in our third fight of the night to the bantamweight division. I think I said this a week or two ago, and I'll say this again. The rare bad fight in the bantamweight division. As in our third fight of the night, we have Victor La Mangusta Henry versus Pedro Pendino Falcão. Yeah, this is super illogical booking, so I'm not gonna waste a lot of time here. It's a super easy fight to predict, so let's predict it. We'll start with Victor Henry, who is very old, 37 years old. That bantamweight is insane. 3-2-1 in the UFC. 3 wins have been Raoni Barcelos, Tony Gravely, and Rani Yahya. His 2 losses have been Rafael Sunsao and Charles Jourdain, and he had a no contest due to nut shots against Javid Basharat. We all know Victor Henry's debut came in a short notice, looked great against Raoni Barcelos, then he got fraud checked by Rafael Sunsao, barely squeaked by Tony Gravely, got kicked in the balls by Javid, destroyed a 60-year-old Rani Yahya, and then got beat by Jourdain in his last fight. Henry's a pretty average fighter. Like, he's gonna be able to beat the lower level guys like Tony Gravely and Rani Yahya, but he's never gonna beat Charles Jourdain. He was gonna lose to Javid Basharat, and if they fight 10 times, I'm taking Raoni to win 9 of them. So, not very much to say. Like, this fight isn't just, this is easily Victor Henry's easiest fight in the UFC. I think even harder than the Rani Yahya fight, and that says a lot. So, this is the UFC, I guess, really doing Victor Henry a favor, handing him a complete layup. Like, I get he just lost to Charles Jourdain, he is very old, but this is just illogical booking at its finest, but whatever. whatever. UFC is doing Victor Henry a solid here. I don't know why. Maybe they like the kid. They're doing a favor for his coach, who is Josh Barnett, I believe. They owe him money, so they just decided to give him an easy fight instead. I don't know, but this booking is really logical. To talk about his opponent, Pedro Falcão. Pedro in the UFC is 0-1, not coming off Contender Series because he didn't get a contract on Contender Series. He got a contract on short notice to fight Victor Hugo. He looked okay and lost, mainly because Victor Hugo's dog shit. And now a year later, he's back. Yeah, this dude's terrible. He fucking... Again, he didn't look awful against Victor Hugo, but again, Victor Hugo is not even in the UFC anymore. He's fucking terrible. And so is Pedro. So, this dude is going to be in and out the UFC very soon. He'll be back on the regional scene very soon. And yeah, this is... Victor Hugo was like a step out of his like fucking range of opponents. This is a fucking leap off a building because this dude's just not good at all. And yeah, this like the skill gap in this fight is very wide. Like I said, if the skill gap between you and Victor Hugo is pretty wide, and you didn't do that bad in that fight, the skill gap between you and Victor Henry is a lot, man. You were like fighting dudes named Victor. So, went to the goddamn arcane. We got fucking Victor everywhere. So, yeah, the skill gap here is very wide. So, just, yeah, this dude sucks. The bang odds are actually pretty low. Victor Henry only minus 215 plus 175. You could have Victor Henry minus 400. He should win this fight very easily. Like, wow, 25%. Pedro has shown me nothing that he can even compete with a dude like Henry, let alone beat him. Like, yes, I get Victor Henry's inconsistent. I get he's not the greatest. I get he is 37 years old. But Pedro lost to Victor Hugo. And what the fuck has this Pedro dude done? Who has he beat? So, give me Victor Henry by decision. Pretty clear fight. Again, the UFC is just handing Victor a win. Why? I don't know. But do I really care? Not really. For whatever reason, the UFC is handing Victor a quick, easy win. I don't know, but I'm gonna fucking take the quick, easy prediction. The quick, easy pick. And go Victor Henry by decision. I don't really see him losing this fight unless he just badly underperforms like the Rafael Santos fight, which I doubt. Victor should win this fight very, 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 very easily. So, this is, again, easily his easiest fight in the UFC. And that says a lot. Again, he fought Ronnie Yaya last year. So, yeah. Give me Victor Henry by decision in a very easily predictable fight. Easily predicted fight would make a lot more sense, wouldn't it? Speaking of easily predicted fights, not even gonna waste a lot of time here because what the fuck do you want me to say? And then our fourth fight of the night? Yes, and we are on our fourth fight of the night. Going back down to the strawweight division for the second time tonight. And we have another booking decision that makes no sense, but it's the UFC, what do you expect? And then our fourth fight of the night, at 1:15, we have Loma Lookboonmee versus Istela Nunes. Do I have to say anything about this fight? Loma Lookboonmee is my lock of the night to win by decision. She should be minus 1,000. Istela Nunes is going to be 6-6 after this. She hasn't won a fight in 6 fucking years. She's had 4 fights since and lost all of them to way worse fighters than Loma Lookboonmee. And I get Loma never fights, but if she did more, she'd probably be in the top 15. She's really fucking good and very underrated. So Give me Loma Lookboonmee by decision, lock of the night. What do you want me to say? I'm not breaking down a fight between a top 15 caliber fighter and a fighter who's on the verge of being 6-6 in their MMA career and hasn't won a fight in 6 fucking years. Loma Lookboonmee, my lock of the night by decision. She could be a bigger favorite than -1,000, so it should be, if we're being honest. So. And they're just trying to cut Istela Nunes at this point, and they succeeded. Might as well put her on the chopping block now, because you ain't winning this fight. You just ain't. Loma by decision. After that, we head to our 5th fight of the night in the welterweight division. Our only trip to 170 on the card tonight, and it's easily the worst fight on the card, which is impressive. And then our 5th fight of the night, we have a shit show between Rhys, Skeletor, McKee versus Daniel Tigano Frunza. Do you give a shit? No, you don't. I'm not wasting your time with this fight. Rhys McKee sucks ass. Daniel Frunza didn't look amazing on Contender Series. I was not impressed. He beat some fraud who had a super padded record at 17-1. Got a contract for some fucking reason. We'll see. Maybe he deserved it. I doubt it. I don't think so, but again, we'll see. You should be Rhys McKee. It's that simple. You better be Rhys McKee. It's about all I can say. So, give me Daniel Frunza by decision, -155. You could probably be a little bit bigger of a favorite than that. Probably -195 would make a lot more sense. Rhys McKee is just fucking awful. It's truly that simple. He's so fucking terrible. It's not even funny. And if you can't beat Rhys McKee, you literally just fucking suck. Again, a guy, Cage Warriors champion, by the way. You see why Cage Warriors fucking sucks? This dude won a belt there. Enough said. Daniel Frunza by decision, and what should be a layup debut for him. Like, I don't even think he's that good, but you should be levels above Rhys McKee. So, give me Daniel Frunza by decision. I'm not gonna waste time on this fight. You don't care. I care even less. Next. After that, we go to our co-main event of the prelims, our 3rd and final fight in the strawweight. I don't know, this is flyweight, my bad. I guess one of them moved up. As in our co-main event of the prelims, we get our final female fight of the night, and this one is not the best or the worst. It's actually in the middle. I think Loma's a better fight, and I think Demopoulos. Overall, I think this fight might be better. And then our co-main event of the prelims in the women's flyweight division, we have Dione the Witch Barbosa versus Diana the Warrior Princess Belbiţă. Low level is a very strong word to use here, and yeah, it's very accurate. These two are not very good. I really don't think highly of Belbiţă, and I don't think Dione is the greatest fighter in the world, so let's see what happens though. Should be very, very interesting. And we'll begin with the ginormous favorite, the biggest favorite on the card, Dione Barbosa. Dione in the UFC is 1-1 coming out Contender Series. In her UFC debut, she had a close fight for Istela Carrasqueta. Very close fight, could have won either way, but she did get the nod. Then in her last fight, she stepped on short notice against some random Maverick, a fight way out of her fucking skill range, especially for her second UFC fight, and she got beat pretty easily. Not badly, but pretty easily. Dione, an amazing fighter. Her striking is kind of non-existent. Her grappling's really good. Sometimes Miranda Maverick was able to kind of nullify that pretty good, and Istela was able to not really get submitted much. So Dione does have a little bit of a striking game, but it's very sloppy. Her 2 losses outside of UFC were to Josie Nunes and Jenna Bishop. Josie, we know, is not good. Jenna Bishop is in PFL, so you're not good. She's front of Chris Cyborg. That's probably her claim to fame, because outside that, again, she's a decent grappler. Her striking's kind of sloppy. Not very much else I can add. I don't really think much of Dione. I don't look at her even as a prospect, because I just don't think she has the tools to even be considered one. She's not awful. She's not great either. If she gets you on the ground, you're fucked. Outside of that, you should be pretty damn safe, in my opinion, so not really much to add. Now to move to our opponent, which I even have less good things to say. Diana Belbiţă. Belbiţă in UFC is 2-5. Jesus Christ. Her 2 wins in UFC have been Hannah Goldie and Maria Oliveira. Her 5 losses have been Molly McCann, Luana Jojua, Goya DePaula, Karolina Kowalkiewicz, and Molly McCann again. She literally decided to win at the best times possible, because if she would have if you swap these 2 fights, this one doesn't even happen because she would have been cut. Yeah, Belbiţă's fucking terrible. She's more focused on being a fucking Twitter user than a fighter. She's fucking awful. You got beat by Molly McCann twice. Submitted one of those times. So, she's terrible. Like, her 2 wins are on OnlyFans model and Maria Oliveira, who suck. And her losses are not good either. Again, Molly McCann twice. That's a terrible loss. Jojua, really? Goya DePaula, I barely even remember who the fuck that is at this point. And Karolina is your most understandable L. The Belbiţă's just fucking terrible. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. Like, again, she's more focused on being a Twitter user. Just start the OnlyFans already. You know you're gonna fucking have to. You're gonna get cut after this. So, she's just fucking terrible. I don't know what you want me to say. She's literally just fucking terrible. So, but I think this is her first fight at flyweight, is it not? So, a little late for the move up. So, good luck, so. Good luck. The Bangouts first fight have Dione Barbosa, the biggest favorite of the night, at -1,000. I think that's insane. I think Lookboonmee deserves to be that more. She's a better fighter and fighting a worse fighter. Dione could be -400. She should win this fight. On the feet, I think she's as good, if not better, than Belbiţă. On the ground, it's not even debatable who's better. So, yeah, Dione should win this fight, but I don't know if she should be -1,000. That's very... You gotta earn that, and I don't think Dione has earned that. Loma has. Loma should be. So, by this logic, you're telling me Istela Nunes is a better fighter than Dione Belbiţă, and you're telling me Dione Barbosa is better than Lookboonmee? What would Loma be against Diane? Like, if I don't get these odds makers logic, but whatever. Give me Dione Barbosa by submission in the first. She should be able to get Belbiţă down and sub her pretty easily. Again, if Molly McCann subbed you, what the fuck is Barbosa gonna do? Someone who's a really good fucking grappler. So, give me Dione Barbosa by submission in the first. Belbiţă is not good at all, and she reminds me of a shittier Polyana Viana, which kinda, actually not even a shittier, she just reminds me of Polyana Viana. And just like Polyana Viana, who's fighting in a few weeks, they're both gonna get submitted in their last fight in the UFC, so yeah, Dione Barbosa by submission in the first. So it's truly that simple. Like, it would be funny to see the odds makers look stupid for these betting odds, because I do think these are a little much. But she should win this fight, so give me Dione Barbosa by submission in the first. Pretty easy fight to call. Unless Belbiṭă learns to stop a takedown and learn how to strike in the last year, which is unlikely, she probably loses this and gets cut, so give me Dione Barbosa by submission in the first. And now, time for our featured prelim. Mainly, it was meant to be the co-main event, the prelims, but with all the bullshit that happened earlier, now Osbourne got moved to the main card, which was the featured prelim, and now this is the featured prelim, and it's a good fight at that, the best fight on the prelims by far. And we had to bantamweight for a very, very good fight, and I'm very excited for it, and I don't know who the fuck to pick, as we have in our prelim main event of the evening, Dangerous Davey Grant versus Daniel Willie Cat Santos. Old man Davey Grant still kicking, still looking good at 50 years old. Good to see him back. And Daniel Santos finally back after a 2-year layoff. This is going to be an interesting one, man. I'm very excited for this fight. I think this is a very good fight. I think it's a very 50-50 fight. I'm excited to see what happens. So, let's break down and see what I think is going to happen. We begin with the OG of the fight, 39-year-old UFC veteran, Dangerous Davey Grant. 7-6 in UFC. His 7 wins have been Marlon Vera, Grigory Popov, Martin Day, Johnson Martinez, Luis Smoka, Rafael Sunsao, and Raman Torrez. His losses have been Chris Holdsworth, Damian Stisak, Manny Bermudez, Chito Vera, Adrian Yanez, and Daniel Marcos. Davey, even at 39 years old, is still a very good fighter in the division. Still was top, 35 bantamweight. He's still good. In the last 5, he's 3-2. And those 2 losses are an undefeated guy most people think he beat, and Adrian Yanez, who was very good at the time. And even if you want to say he's 3-3 in his last 6, that other out was Chito. So, and then if you look at his wins, some of his wins are insane. Chito Vera, fucking Johnson Martinez. Like, those are 2 top tier wins. So, and in his last fight, he was the underdog. I picked him to win. He fucking looked good. He looked really good. Yeah, I don't think Rome Tavares is very good, but Davey Grant is still very good. So I'm happy I got him. That was one of my better underdog calls of the year. Yeah, Davey still got it. He's still as good of a striker as he ever was. He's still got good power in his hands. He's still tough as nails. Grappling is not awful. So he's still a pretty decent fighter, even at 39, soon to be 40 years old at bantamweight. He still got it. So he never lost it. He's still a very good fighter who can compete with the best of them, it seems. So for how much longer, I have no idea, but as of this moment in time, he's coming off a win. He's above 500 in UFC, and since 2022, he's 3-1. So, and a lot of people would say 4-0. So, what does that tell you? Old man still got it. Still well-rounded. Still very, very good, and a really good test for any and everyone. To talk about his returning opponent, Daniel Santos. A lot of people might not even know who the fuck this is if he hasn't fought in so long. 2-1 in UFC. His 2 wins were John Castaneda and Johnny Munoz. His 1 loss was against Julio Arce. I swear I remember Santos having better wins, or at least fighting more than that, but I guess not. Julio Arce in your debut. I guess that's not a terrible L. Beating John Castaneda, I like that win. Beating Johnny Munoz, I don't care for that win. Being off for 2 years, I don't like that. 30 years old from Shoot to Box. He's not bad from what I remember. But yeah, he's not amazing either. Like, I swear he had better wins than this. And again, I swear he had more fights than 3. I guess not. Weird. So, yeah, from what I remember him destroying John Castaneda. I remember that the most from his early fights. Because outside of that, I don't remember him against Arce or Munoz. So, he did have a lot of hype, I remember, after these first 2 wins. So, but that's definitely gone now, being off for 2 years. A lot of people don't even remember who the fuck he is. So, I do, because I'm a psychopath who remembers everything. Kind of. But, yeah, a lot of people don't even remember who the fuck this guy is. So, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, that guy. Because he was good. He went on a nice run. That was, like, again, that Castaneda win is pretty good, but outside of that, not a lot to go off of. So, still kind of a complete unknown in this division. We'll see how he looks after a 2-year break. Due to whatever fucking reason. The bangouts for the fight have Daniel Santos minus 155 plus 125. I disagree. This should be a complete pick'em. So either you go with the 39-year-old who's still pretty good, or the 30-year-old who's been off for 2 years and only has 3 fights in UFC, and I think Davey Grant's better than all 3 of the guys he's beat, or fought, I should say. It's a tough fight to predict, man. It's a coin flip. Grant 62 to Santos 38. It's a complete coin flip, but you could go either side and make a good case. You can go Davey because he's a veteran, he's still fighting at a high level, he's been more active lately, he's fought better guys. You can go Daniel because he's 9 years younger, he showed a lot of promise in his last 2 fights, and at his age, taking a 2-year break ain't the worst thing in the world, and he is fighting a 39-year-old. So you can make a lot of debates for either guy. If you break this fight down in the striking realm, how many KOs does Danny have? 5? So it's gonna be an even fight on the feet. What's the height and reach? 1 inch? Okay, so pretty much virtually identical. On the ground, it's gonna be Daniel Santos, because he's from Shoot the Box, so he has a good grappling game, I would assume. Only 2 submission wins though, so maybe not. But I don't think this fight's gonna hit the ground unless someone gets knocked to it. Cardio, a 39-year-old or a dude who's not fought in 2 years, that's a tough debate. Experience, Davey Grant. Toughness, tough debate. Fucking durability, 2-year layoff or 39 years old, tough debate. It's a 50-50 fight, man. Like, this fight could go either way. This kind of screams a really close split decision, almost, in my opinion. It's a very, like, 50-50 fight, maybe the hardest fight on the card to predict, because they're both very good. This is easily a top 40 fight at 135. 2 guys who could easily, I think Davey is top 35, and Daniel Santos could easily be top 40 if he stays active. It's a very good fight, and I really don't know who I'm picking. Right now, in this moment in time, who am I leaning towards? I'm leaning towards Davey Grant, but that could change very easily. So, I'm leaning towards Davey. I can make a case for either guy, and I'm gonna think over this fight over and over and over and over and over and over again for the next less than 48 hours till the card. But as of right now, the vibe is Davey Grant. So, again, that could change, it might change, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but again, right now, my gut is telling me Davey Grant, so instead of sitting here for an hour trying to make a good, solid pick, I'm gonna just say what I feel at this moment in time, and we'll see what happens by the time the card starts. So, right now, I'm leaning Davey Grant, but God, is it a close one. You can make a debate for either guy for many different reasons, so. But I'm going to take the veteran as of right now, Davey, Dangerous, Grant. By decision, I think it's a good decision either way, but who takes it? Right now, I'm leaning the Dangerous one. Give me Davey Grant by decision. Will that stick? I don't know. But that's who I feel at this moment is the pick to make. But again, you could flip a coin and it won't land on a wrong side because either guy could win that fight. So we'll see who takes it. But outside of that, not really much else to say about these prelims. They're not awful. First, and the Demopoulos is not amazing. Buday could be a fun fight. Victor Henry could be okay. Loma should be good. She's gonna kick the shit out of Istela. This could probably be shitty. This will probably be quick and good. And this should be a banger. So, a few good, a few bad. It's not a good fight. It's a fine prelims. A lot of returning fighters. Santos, Belbiţă, Lookboonmee, Falcão. Buday haven't fought in a while. So a lot of returning fighters. We'll see how they do on this pretty okay looking prelims. Now we move to our main card. 6 more fights. Some good, some not so good. And let's see what happens. As we will begin in the middleweight division with a fight I won't waste a lot of time with because it's a pretty easy fight to predict and I really don't care to talk about this fight. As in our main card opener in the middleweight division, we begin with a pretty predictable fight between Robzilla Valentin versus Torrez the Punisher Finney. Yeah, we know how this fight's gonna go. Like, it's a pretty easy fight to predict, so let's talk about it real quick. We'll begin with the guy who lost the tough finale by cuddles, Robert Valentin. 0-1 in the UFC, got all the way to the finale of the Ultimate Fighter, and then he got cuddled by Ryan Loader for 15 minutes. Yay. Oh, my bad. Ground and pounded. I forgot how the fight even ended. Long story short of Robert, he's like a super dollar store Yuri. Yeah, if he actually fought a striker, he would do pretty good. But the second grappling comes into play, this dude's fucked. So he's not that good. Ryan Loader beat him with ease, and I doubt Finney does anything differently. So yeah, I don't know why you'd book this fight for Valentin instead of giving him a striker you'd have a fun fight with, but that would actually make sense, wouldn't it? So, not a lot to say. Robert Valentin, not very good when it comes to anything outside just striking. Again, he's a super dollar store Yuri. To talk about his opponent, Torrez Finney. Torrez is making the UFC debut after winning 3 fights on a Contender Series. None of them that impressive in my opinion. He has no idea how to actually fight. He just tries to cuddle you, kind of the same thing as Ryan Loader. Take that as you will. 26 years old, 10-0 in MMA. UFC debut here against a guy with no grappling game. We know what the UFC is doing. They're feeding Torrez a guy who everyone knows he's going to beat pretty easily because Robert has no grappling. And yeah, it's pretty obvious what the UFC are doing. So no shocker, the UFC doesn't hide their cards very well. So yeah. The bang odds for this fight have Torrez minus 295 to plus 230. Yeah, I think those odds are right on the money. Finney should win this fight with ease. Like, yeah, he's so much shorter, but he's just going to take Robert down and beat him. So, more than likely, I really don't see anything else happening. I would love to see Robert knock him out and fraud check him, because I think Torrez is a joke. I fucking hate this dude, because he's not a fighter, but what can you do? I'd rather get my pick, at this point, I'd rather get the pick right than waste time getting it wrong. So, give me Torrez Finney by decision. Takedown, 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 boring decision, win. So, give me Torrez Finney by decision in a boring fight where he just spams takedowns for 15 minutes, the same thing as Ryan Loader. Weird booking, not really, could have done a lot more with Robert and feed him to a wrestler, but whatever. Torrez, Finney by decision. Pretty easy prediction. After that, we go to our second fight of the night, the fight that got moved up to the main card thanks to Kendi and Deshku pulling out. As in our second fight of the main card, a fight that is not easy to predict. We have a very, very interesting fight here. This should be an intriguing one, and a good one at that. As in our second fight of the main card, we go all the way down to flyweight for a fight between Luis Gurule versus the Jamaican sensation Osbourne. This is a pretty good fight. This could be a really good fight, and should be interesting to see what happens here. We got an undefeated guy. We have 3 on the card, and we know they're kind of prone to losing in 2025. We'll see if Luis follows the trend or breaks it. I think Torrez will break it. We'll see with Martin Buday's fight. What about Luis? We'll find out. And we'll talk about Luis first, since he is our first fighter of the fight. So let's talk about him. He is making his UFC debut, coming out with Contender Series, where he stepped in on short notice and beat Nick Piccinini. He looked alright in that fight. Didn't look amazing, but he did look alright. He has some decent striking, decent ground game. He's not amazing, but he's not awful. 31 years old, 10-0. He's not amazing. He's not awful. That's about the way I would describe him. I don't know if I would have gave him a contract. I don't think Piccinini is that good. I think he kind of sucks. I'll take that as you will. We'll see what Luis can do here in the big leagues. Osbourne's a really nice debut to get. He's not awful, but he's not a pushover. He's like perfectly in the middle of that. So we'll see how Luis does here. He showed some skills on the Contender Series. Now it's time to show a little bit more. So let's see what this dude can do. Didn't it beat some okay fighters on the original scene? So let's see how this man does in the UFC. He looked pretty well rounded and pretty decent on DWCS. But let's see how he moves over to the big leagues. To talk about his opponent, Osbourne. in UFC is 4-6. His 4 wins have been Jerome Rivera, CJ Vergara, Zaruk Adeshev, and Charles Johnson. His losses have been, coming off Contender Series, Brian Kelleher, Manel Kopp, Tyson Nam, Asu Amabayev, Rafael Filho, and Lazy Boy Rodriguez, which that has aged great. Ode is not a great fighter, even though he has the tools to be. He has good striking, he has good power, but he has no grappling, he has no cardio, he has a weak chin. He has a little bit of heart, but not the most. He's 33 years old. He probably could have moved up to bantamweight. Probably wouldn't have been the worst decision in the world. He's not a bad fighter, but he definitely just has holes in his game that guys have been exploiting for years, like no cardio, no grappling, and a weak chin. Again, if he touches you, you're gonna go down. The dude has power, but he actually needs to touch you, which has not been happening lately. The UFC is just using him as fucking a guy to test prospects. Asu, Filho, Lazy Boy, and now Luis. He's just here to test prospects. He easily could be on a 5-fight winning streak, since a lot of people don't think he beat Charles Johnson in that fight, so take that as you will. If the UFC gets their way here, if Luis wins and they cut Ode. But Ode, you never know if Ode, man. He's still got a little left in the tank, possibly, so he still has bombs in his hands, and he's still a talented fighter. We'll see if he can set back to prospect and keep his job. I like Ode. I think he's a great guy and a decent fighter, but just been unlucky in the UFC, man. Really unlucky. The betting odds don't think the tide will change for Ode, as Luis is minus 265 plus 210. Yeah. I don't know if a little much on it. I might have Luis down a good amount. Like, this is, I think, a pretty close fight. I might have Luis like minus 140, 150 at most. Luis should probably win. Like, O'Day is very beatable. And I think Luis is a little more well-rounded than O'Day. I think he has a better grappling game. O'Day has the experience, but Luis has the grappling and the probably cardio. So it's gonna be an interesting fight. It should be a really fun one. But, it's hard not to go Luis by decision here. He should win this fight, again, unless O'Day lands that death touch, which is unlikely. More than likely, Luis is able to squeak out a decision here. More than likely, like I said. Like, again, on the feet, they're probably pretty even, but O'Day has the power. On the ground, Luis. Cardio, Luis. So, give me Luis, Gerald, or Gurule by decision. Maybe he gets a finish in there. It's possible, but I don't know if it's likely. I think more than likely we see 15 minutes and O'Day Osbourne takes, sadly, his final L in the UFC. Man, I'm gonna hate putting him on chopping block Sunday. That's gonna fucking hurt. But I gotta stay true, don't I? God damn it. Let's see what happens. Give me the undefeated prospect, Luis, by decision. Let's see if you can beat O'Day Osbourne. If Lazy Boy Rodriguez could, and we saw him at age last week, you should be able to. Give me Luis by decision. After that, we head to our third fight of the main card, a veteran battle that actually is not the co-main event. It probably should be at this point. And then our third fight of the main card, we have a fight that has shockingly not happened before. You think it would have, since these two have been in the UFC for 10 years together. As we head to middleweight for our third fight between Gerald GM3 Meerschaert versus Brad Tavares. How has this fight not happened before? These two have been in the UFC together for decades and they've never fought. A little shocking by that, but whatever. Veteran battle at 185. Let's see what happens. Should be interesting. Should be an easy one to break down because I'm not going to go down their whole careers. Fuck you. So, let's talk about it. We'll begin with GM3, Mr. No Decisions in the UFC, Mr. Submission, 29 submissions, 37 years old, and not doing too bad for himself in the UFC lately. And I'm not going to go down his whole UFC career, I'll go down his last 5 fights, because again, dude's been in the UFC for fucking ever, so I'll pass. In the last 5 fights, he is 2-3, but those losses are Joe Pyfer, who is just a better fighter than him. Andre Petrosky in a very close fight. Some people think he won. Then he did go on a 2-fight winning streak, beating Brian Barberena and Edmund Shabazian, 2 dudes with no grappling and no cardio. And then in his last fight, he lost to Ranier de Ridder, even though he has done the best against Ranier outside of his 2 opponents in the UFC so far, with the other one being Kevin Holland. And there's a world where GM3 was up 2-0 in that fight because he didn't get knocked out in round 3. We did not live in that world, but it would have been a cool one to live in. We know what we're getting with GM3. The dude's striking is not amazing. At weird times, he does have a little bit of striking and has power, but overall, we know what he's trying to do. He wants to just get you down and submit you. And that's what he's been doing. And that's what he's good at. So, hell, and the dude's tough. He was able to survive against Edmund Shabazian and come back and win. Dude's tough as nails, 37 years old, has a lot of heart, has a lot of good grappling, decent striking at times. He's not bad. He's not that bad at all. He still has it at 37 years old. Again, he took it to Ranier de Ridder. If you watch that fight, outside that knockdown in round 1, GM3 fought better for the first 10 minutes. Like, I get his wins have not been impressive lately. His last good win was what? Makhmud Muradov back in 2021 when he was hyped up. So, take that as you will. GM3 still got it. 37 years old, can be 38 in December. Same birthday as Davey Grant. That's funny. Let's see what he can do. Mr. No Decision in the UFC. Let's see if he can keep that streak up. GM3, man. Still here. Still got it. To talk about his opponent, Brad Tavares, another veteran who's been here even longer than GM3. Been here for 14 years. 37 years old as well. 15-10 in the UFC. No, I'm not going to go down to a UFC career because fuck that. Like I said, I'll go down his last 5, where he is 1-4. That one win being against Chris Weidman. That was his first fight off the leg injury. And his losses have been Dricus du Plessis, Bruno Silva, Gregory Rodriguez, and Jung Young Park. Beating Chris Weidman, his return fight was not really impressive, especially since Weidman kind of lost himself that fight, in my opinion. He definitely could have fought better. And then lost to Dricus in a close, fun fight. Didn't do that bad against Dricus, to be honest. Lost to Bruno Silva, which that's not aged great. Gregory Rodriguez, okay. And Jung Young Park, that's not the worst L in the world. Brad's a fine fighter. He's pretty average. I know I'm saying that for a lot of guys on this card, but that's just the truth. He's a very average guy. Never really stuck out as like some top contender, in my opinion. Or I think in anyone's opinion, he never really was able to beat the upper echelon of guys. Like, his best win is who? Fucking Nate Marquardt, Elias Theodoro, Krzysztof Jotko, a super old Chris Weidman. Like, he really hasn't beat anyone that good, but he's lost to some of the best. Like, some of his losses. Yoel Romero, Robert Whitaker, Israel Adesanya, Edmund Shabazian, Dricus du Plessis, Gregory Rodriguez, Jung Young Park. Dude's lost to some decent names, and now at 37 years old, he's really starting to seem like he's slowing down. Again, 1-4 in your last 5. And if he loses this, there's a good chance he's out of here. It's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be really interesting to see what happens here with Brad. If he can save his job one more time. Only one way to find out, ain't there? Let's see. We know we're getting with Brad. Decent striker. Some grappling. Not a lot of grappling though, but some. A lot of experience. So, a lot of experience between these two. These two combined for having more experience than the whole card combined around them. So, it should be an interesting one. The bang outs, I have Brad Tavares minus 210 to plus 175. I don't get those odds at all. Like, if you just go after the last 5 fights, GM3 has looked better. His wins have been better. Even his losses. Dude, again, the dude just gave Ranier de Ridder a tough-ass fight in his debut, if you remember, so I'm not really sure why he's such a big underdog against Tavares. I would probably have this fight close to a pick'em to 37-year-old who have never been the most consistent or the most trustworthy. I would probably lean a pick'em here because that's just what feels right, a pick'em. I don't see minus 210 Brad Tavares in this fight, so maybe it's just me. Who am I going with in this fight? What's the height and all that? Same, okay. Give me the guy who I think's looked better lately and still has a little more left in the tank. Give me GM3. I think he's better than Brad. You gotta factor this way. The two things I'm thinking of is A, who's looked better lately? GM3. And B, is GM3's striking better than Tavares' grappling? Maybe. I think that's a pretty even debate, so we're gonna find out the answer to that debate pretty quickly and easily in this fight, so it's gonna be interesting. Gonna be very interesting. What I do know though is I think I'm gonna lean GM3 here. I think he might be the best underdog on the card. Plus 175 is a little much. Nothing bet on him, not saying he's trustworthy. I'm saying I think he might be the best underdog on this card, and he probably should win this fight. I just think he's a little bit better than Brad at this point, and he looked better than Brad. And I think he can get this fight down, grind out some rounds, maybe lock up a submission in there, and if not, he wins a 15-minute decision. So, I think my pick here is going to be GM3 by decision to add another W to his cap. I think he's looked better than Brad lately, but I guess we're going to find out. Give me the guy who I think's looked better lately and has a little bit, who's just a better fighter at this point. Give me GM3, the best underdog on the card, maybe by decision. Should be a fun veteran battle at 185. Probably should be the co-main event at this point. I'll stick by that. After that, we go to our lowest level fight on the main card, and a fight that just makes no sense being on the main card, because why the fuck is it on the main card? I don't get it, but whatever. And then our fourth fight of the main card, going back to bantamweight for the final time tonight, for probably the worst fight of the three in the division, to be honest. I, again, don't get why this is so high on the card, but whatever. Lowest level fight on the main card, as we have Cortavious, Are You Not Entertained? Romulus versus Chang Ho Lee. It's a really low level fight. Maybe a decent fight, but god, it's super fucking low level. So, let's see what happens. It's low level MMA at its finest. Let's begin with Cortavious Romulus. Cortavious in the UFC is 0-1 in coming out to Contender Series, where he did go 1-1 on the show. Got KO'd by Roman Tavares in 2023, came back, looked okay in 2024, and got a contract off a very forgettable performance. Then in his UFC debut a few months ago, he fought Gaston Bolanos in a fun fight and lost. I picked Gaston as the favorite, thank you. And, yeah, now he's here fighting Chang Ho Lee. I don't think Cortavious is UFC level. He's very green. His fight IQ ain't great. He's like 31 years old and only on his... He's 31 years old and still really green in his fucking fighting game. He went 1-1 in fucking Contender Series, 1-0 on an LFA. Besides that, he did not really beat anyone notable. Even the guy he beat on Contender Series, wasn't he like some fucking old dude? Yeah, you beat some 34-year-old on a Contender Series. Good fucking job. I don't think Cortavious is that good. He's very green. He makes some bad IQ. He makes some bad moves. English. He makes some really bad mistakes. Common mistakes during a fight. I just don't think he's UFC level. I truly don't. Maybe like... I like Gaston Bolanos. I think he's a decent fighter. And he kind of made Cortavious look stupid at times. I just don't think Cortavious is that good. I really don't. I think he has good power in his hands. Like, his grappling's okay. Outside of that, I don't really know what else there is to say. I just think he's a very green, inexperienced kid who shouldn't be in the UFC right now. It truly is that simple. To talk about his opponent, Chang Ho Lee. Chang in UFC is 1-0, coming off the road to UFC, where he did win the show, beating Long Xiao, who has done pretty good since that fight. And a lot of people don't even think Lee won that fight, so take that as you will. That was an alright fight, I remember, nothing amazing, and that win is aging pretty good. Again, Long Xiao 1-0 in the UFC, got a nice knockout win a few months ago. That's not aging too bad. Outside of that, he beats him. That's not a bad win. He won as a ginormous underdog on road to UFC. I do remember that. He's okay. I don't think he's great. I've not seen enough of him to really make a good judgment. He is from Road to UFC, so take that as you will. Road to UFC is really, really, really shitty when it comes to giving us fighters. He's 30 years old, 10-1. Again, his one fight in UFC was a good while ago last year, and people don't even think he won that fight. But again, Long Xiao is, I think, levels above Cortavious Romulus. I don't really have much else to say about Lee. Again, I've only seen him fight like twice. And we'll see how he does here. 30 years old, making his official UFC debut while not anything Road to UFC related. See how the dude looks. See how he looks. Excuse me. The Bangouts vs. fight have Chang Ho Lee minus 135 to plus 110. Yeah, like I would have it close but kind of clear. I'd have, I think, Lee minus 125, 120, 130, 135, etc. is good. I'm probably gonna take Lee. Like, I've only seen him fight one time compared to Cortavious 3 times, and in that one fight, I think Lee looked better. He looked a little more level-headed, a little bit smarter in his approach, and I'm gonna take the dude who I trust a little more than the inexperienced guy who makes pretty bad mistakes at a high rate. I think I'm gonna lean Chang Ho Lee here. Either way, I think it's kind of low level because I'm not super sold on Lee. I don't think he's that great from the 2 fights I've seen of him. But I trust him more from those 2 fights I somewhat remember compared to Cortavious, who, again, I just don't think that UFC level. I don't know if Lee is either, but at least I don't know if he is or not compared to knowing Cortavious is not. So, give me Chang Ho Lee by decision. It should be an interesting fight. It's going to be a low-level fight, so those are usually pretty fun. So, let's see what happens. I'm very intrigued to see what happens. Very intrigued to see if Chang Ho is any good, and interested to see if Cortavious can turn the narrative and prove he is UFC level. Only one way to find out. Put him in that cage and let's see who wins. Give me Chang Ho Lee by decision in what should be an interesting low-level battle. Still shouldn't be on the main card. After that, we go to our co-main event of the evening in the featherweight division, where our next and final 2 fights will be. And then our co-main event of the evening, we have a fight that has no right being a co-main event in 2025, maybe 3 years ago, but not now. As in our co-main event of the evening, we have Joe Anderson to Barco Burrito versus Pat Sabatini. Again, this fight, not a bad fight. I don't mind this fight, but as a co-main in 2025, like 3 years ago during the pandemic, cool, but not in 2025. The co-main should be GM3, but whatever. This fight's still not awful. At least it could be decent. I'm not saying it's going to be, but it could be. Oh, let's see what happens. Burrito, Sabatini, 2 dudes who've kind of been proven to not be as good as they seemed. So let's see who gets the win. We'll start with Joe Anderson Burrito. Burrito in UFC is 5-2, coming off Contender Series, where he did get a contract beating Diego Lopez, which is always interesting. What a great 2 wins with Chefe Mariscal and Diego Lopez. Who would have thought those would age stupidly well? In the UFC, Burrito has beaten Andre Fili, Lucas Alexander, Weston Wilson, JSP, and Jack Shore. His 2 losses were Bill Algeo and William Gomez. Burrito had a nice 5-fight winning streak, but looking back, and especially after the last fight, you kind of got to think how fraudulent was that winning streak. Andre Feely's kind of chinny. Luke Alexander's not good. Weston Wilson's terrible. JSP ain't a world beater. And he got cut. Jack Shore is pretty one-dimensional and beatable. And he won by a bullshit doctor stoppage. As I did kind of predict him to knock him out, so I'll take it. And then your 2 losses, Bill Aljo, who, okay, I guess. And you lost to William Gomez. I think they scored that fight right from what I remember. Even if they didn't, you had a close fight with William Gomez, who's awful. Hyder Emil beat him clearly, and you couldn't. And I love Hyder Emil, but come on. Brito hits really fucking hard. He has good striking, he has good leg kicks, he has a good grappling game, but he just seems like he should be doing better. His cardio's okay, fight IQ's okay. It just feels like he should be doing better in the UFC. So, and even in that 5-fight winning streak, he was struggling at times. He was losing to JSP, and so we'll see if Brito get back on track here. Should be interesting. I'm not gonna call him a fraud, but he's definitely not as good as I thought he was. He's definitely not on the same caliber of guy that I thought he was when he was on that 5-fight winning streak. So, but he's still young. He's 30. Still has all those talent, all that talent I spoke of. Again, power, striking, grappling, yada yada. Let's see if he can get back on track here. Because he does have talent, but I don't think he's to the level we thought he was. To talk about his opponent, Pat Sabatini. Sabatini in the UFC is 6-2. His 6 wins have been Tristan Connolly, Jamal Emmers, Tucker Lutz, TJ Laramie, Lucas Almeida, and Johnson Pierce. His 2 losses have been Damon Jackson and Diego Lopez. Pat Sabatini is a very one-dimensional fighter. He's just a wrestler, kind of the same thing as Torrez Finney, but I think maybe worse. He has no striking. He's just wrestling. Like, that's the way he's won all his fights on the ground. He can't strike. The 2 fights he had striking, he got KO'd, so what's that tell you? He did look good in his last fight, shutting me up and beating Johnson Pierce as a pretty big underdog, where he looked pretty good in that fight, but how good is JSP? And again, the dude just got cut a few weeks ago, so take that as you will. Sabatini is 34 years old. He is not going to get better at this point in his career. He still has no striking, and his wrestling is decent, but it can be stopped and beat. So, take that as you will. Outside of that, again, he's pretty one-dimensional. He's going to try and take you down and hold you there for 15 minutes. If that doesn't work, then you probably beat him. So, we'll see what happens if that holds true here. So, only one way to find out, ain't it? Not a lot much to say about Pat Sabatini. He has one game plan in mind: take you down. Can he do it? We'll see. The bang outs for I have Jorans and Brito minus 230 to plus 190. Yeah, I agree. I don't know if I'd have much bigger of a favorite, and you could even move him down to maybe a minus 190 if you wanted to. Brito should win this fight. He's better on the feet. He has power in his hands, which has been a problem for Pat Sabatini in the past. Look at Diego Lopez fight. He has a decent grappling game, which we've seen Sabatini struggle with guys who can grapple with him. Lopez and Damon Jackson. He doesn't have the strongest chin. He's very one-dimensional. We know what he's trying to do. I think Brito's just better. I think the UFC just trying to get Jareth and Brito back on track, which is fine. But you can make it a little less obvious, and you don't have to make it the co-main event. Like, let's be honest. Because let's say Sabatini does win this fight. He cuddled him for 15 boring minutes, which you knew was a possibility because he only has one game plan in mind, so you kinda did it to yourself. But if Brito has his way, then he either wins by knockout, maybe a submission, or he wins a decision, so we'll see. It should be interesting. Not the best co-main event in the world. Not the worst, but still not a great co-main event. 2025, a year or two ago, it would have been better, but not now, so. But my pick is going to be Joanson Brito. I just think he's the more well-rounded guy. He has the striking and power. He has a decent ground game. Pat only has the wrestling. That's it. So, should be interesting, but I'm going to go Joanson Brito by decision. I don't know if he's going to knock out Pat. I think I could see Pat kind of maybe taking round 1 and then start gassing, or Brito starts learning how to stuff his takedowns, or something along those lines, we'll see. Or Brito goes out there and just breaks his fucking chin in half and puts him to sleep, like Damon and Lopez did, so. Got some possibilities. We'll see what happens. But for this fight, I'm gonna go Joe Anderson Brito by decision. Which I think he only won by decision 0 times in his winning streak, which is interesting. Does he have any decision wins on his record? 2. Interesting. Maybe that changes Saturday. Change Joe Anderson Brito, the pick in the co-main event. And now, time for our main event of the evening, a banger in the featherweight division. We have a banger to end UFC Vegas 105. What a way to go out. This could be a cool fight on a pay-per-view, but instead we get in the Apex. This probably should have been the main event in London 2 weeks ago. That's a minor detail. As we end the UFC Vegas 105 with the biggest and really only bright spot on the card, as we end with a banger between, in our main event, Josh C.C.O. Emmett versus Lerone the Miracle Murphy. This is gonna be an interesting fight, even though it's a very simple fight to break down. We all know Josh Emmett hits hard as a truck, and that's about it. We all know Lerone Murphy, very good fighter, but kind of a decision machine, and has looked okay. Edson Barbosa and Dan Ige are some pretty good wins, and he might be one of England's only decent fighters, so take that as you will. If this fight comes down to this, either Josh Emmett knocks Lerone out with one punch like he usually does, or Lerone Murphy survives and beats him over 25 minutes. It truly is that simple, and I hate to say it like that, but it truly is that simple. And I get why people were picking Emmett, because Dan Ige dropped Lerone, and Edson Barbosa, I think, broke his nose, but I just don't see, like, ever since this fight was booked, I just don't see Emmett knocking Lerone out. Maybe he drops him, but I don't know if he knocks him out. So, like, Emmett is 40, and let's be honest, outside of the death touch, what does he do well? Like, if he doesn't knock you out, what does Josh Emmett, what's he good at? Wrestling? Cardio? Not completely. Grappling submissions? No. So if Lerone can survive those first 5 to 10 minutes, he should take this fight, for being honest. So ever since this fight was booked, I looked at it that way. It's either a Josh Emmett knockout or Lerone Murphy decision, and I'm gonna lean to Lerone Murphy decision. I think he's gonna be able to survive and win. Again, just each one comparative wins. Bryce Mitchell compared to Edson Barbosa and Dan Ige, and Bryce Mitchell over a year ago. So another long layoff for a guy in Emmett who's already 40. Had a lot of injuries, and a lot of people are already talking about retirement for him before the Bryce Mitchell fight, so what does that tell you? So, compared to Lerone, who's 33, undefeated, and ready to be a contender. I like Emmett. I think he's a really fun fighter, very good fighter, very powerful fighter, but I think he's a little bit out of his league here, and I just don't see him knocking out Lerone Murphy, so maybe I'm wrong, but I doubt it. Give me Lerone Murphy by decision. The bang odds kind of agree, having him minus 235 to plus 260. minus 235 plus 260. I don't know if I'd have that big of a favorite. I'd probably have Lerone minus 200. I think that's a good, because I think for 25 minutes he's risking getting that chin cracked. Even later in the fight, Emmett still has that power. Early in the fight, it's the scariest, or late in the fight, it's still pretty dangerous. But I just think he's gonna be able to survive. Like, yeah, I know Danny Gay dropped him, but like, I just think Lerone's gonna fix that. Like, and I've shit on Lerone a lot in the past. He lost to Gabriel Santos. Like, Josh Colbell fight was boring. But you want me to be honest, I've been impressed his last 2 fights. He proved he was legit against Edson, where he beat him over 25 minutes. He was able to bounce back after getting dropped by Danny Gay. He's a decent fighter, and I just see him beating Emmett here. Am I upset if Emmett knocks him out? No, of course not. I fucking like Josh, and I'd be more than down to see him knock another fucking guy's soul out of his body. But do I see that happening? I truly don't. I really struggle to see Josh Emmett knocking out Lerone Murphy here, so possible, yes. Probable, 15-20%. Like, if you bet on Josh Emmett, you are praying he lands that death touch. Outside of that, yeah, you might as well rip up your ticket the second round 2 ends, because that shit ain't happening. So, give me Lerone Murphy by decision in what should be a very good fight, and I think Emmett will drop him some point in the fight, but I don't think he'll knock him out. I don't think it'll even be that good of a shot that drops him, just like maybe a jab or some shit that's like makes everyone go, ooh, but Lerone will survive and win the fight, in my opinion. So, give me Lerone Murphy by decision to end a great main event and a shit card in Vegas. Finally, boom. That was the card. Let's go over my picks one more time. Vanessa Demopoulos by decision. Uran, sad not trying that name again, by knockout in a second. Victor Henry by decision. Loma Lookboonmee, my lock of the night, by decision. Daniel Frunza by decision. Dione Barbosa by submission in the first. David Grant by decision, the pick for right now. Torrez Finney by decision. Luis Gurule by decision. GM3 by decision. Chang Ho Lee by decision. Gerald and Brito by decision. And Lerone Murphy to end the night by decision. Sorry, Josh. I'm just gonna pick who I think actually wins. So that's the card. UFC Vegas 105. Is it good? No. The main event is. Outside of that, like, what are you really looking forward to? No. I'm interested, to say the least. Not really. I'm cool to see Loma back. No, not really. Yeah. No. Kinda. Not really. No. Yeah. So what? 4 or 5 fights of 13 I'm intrigued in? That's not great. So thank God the main event good. If this was a weak main event, like if this was Deladze Vittori, dude, that would be the worst card of the year on paper. But with this great of a main event, it could be worse. It could be worse. The main event's going to hard carry this to being a little bit, like, let's say the card's a fucking 2 out of 10. This could carry it to be a 3. So we'll see, though. I'll tell you if I was right, wrong, if this was the best or worst card of the year, etc., etc. on Sunday, sometime on Sunday, and I'll give you a time because fuck if I know. But sometime on Sunday, you'll be hearing my recap for what the fuck happened on this shit show of a card. Should be fun. Outside of that, not really much else I can think to say, unless I'm going to say something, because I don't think I am. Like I said, not a great card. Main event's good. That's about it. So, we'll see if anything else on the card overperforms and surprises us. Hopefully we get a great card. It's unlikely. Well, we can pray. We pray every week and never gets answered. We'll see, though. Last week was pretty good, so let's see if this week follows suit. Besides that, not very much more I can think to say. Am I forgetting anything? I'm trying to think. I don't think I am, so let's finally close this hour and a half long breakdown down the only way I know how, by saying I hope you enjoyed that video. Please like, comment, subscribe. 100 subs goal by the end of 2025. And unless I'm forgetting to say something, which I don't believe I am, as always, RX out. Good vibes only. And always.